Hey everybody, it's Marty Mongiello again from the United States Presidential Culinary Museum for another episode of Inside the President's Cabinet. Well, for today's episode, spring cleaning, and you find a biscuit under the president's couch. How many of us have enjoyed a biscuit in the morning? We just had an enjoyable ham and egg biscuit, and you know they're so famous here in the South. We just love buttery biscuits, so we've got some here from Chef Linda, and she does a fantastic job. I picked these up from her this morning. But you know, there are other biscuits in the world besides these tasty biscuits. We actually have a nuclear biscuit that the president carries around with him and cracks in half and gets out what we call the golden codes. And this is critical to launch the nuclear missile system from the nuclear triad. So this is one of the more famous biscuits you may have never heard of. And honestly, the vice president has a biscuit and also a nuclear football, in case you have ever heard of the nuclear briefcase or the president's satchel or the football or the nuclear football. And this is how we launch in the United States, is actually with a biscuit. And many people have always asked, what is actually in that nuclear briefcase, Marty? Because you were in the president's bedroom, the president's bathroom, his living room, his dining room, the kitchen. The Secret Service were not allowed in the house with the Clintons up at Camp David. And we understand that they were pretty private on the second and third floor of the White House also. Well, actually, what is in there for the people who have been around this is a bit surprising when they get deflated and find out, oh my gosh, there's only folders in there? I thought that, and had read somewhere in a book that there is a biometric palm scanner that scans and analyzes for a blood vein check the presidency, or the fingerprint. Also, somebody mentioned to me at one of the country clubs that they had read there was a retinal eye scanner in there, that the president did a retinal eye scan and then did a thumbprint check, and there was a small safety switch that opens up and the president actually pushes the launch button and it launches. No, sorry guys. For those of us who have been around the nuclear briefcase for many years, we do not have those things inside the briefcase. There is nothing like that in there. When we open that up with the military aide, who is usually a lieutenant colonel or higher, one from each of the services, they're able to take a look at what we can fire, what is available right now. These are a couple of limited strike options. These are some full strike options. These are also in other folders where we can have you taken away right now, Mr. President, and stash you or hide you. So we have a whole folder on active locations right now. And yes, we are updating these things every day. And a critical element to that whole process really is proving with a biscuit that you actually are the president. So the president used to get out of the gold codes, which is called the biscuit, and would crack that open and read the codes to the Secretary of Defense. This is a pass and challenge system that we have. And trust me, when I worked at Camp David, the presidential resort, there was nights at 2 o'clock in the morning where we would run security drills and things, and the codes change every day. So there's a pass and challenge code. So somebody says to you, orange blueberry, and they're waiting for the response. You had best have the right response. I respond to you, greenback chair. You had best have the correct response for that day. That's what's on the biscuit. And if you lose a biscuit, it's not that good, is it? Have we not been out there spring cleaning? And it's like, oh, here's where that biscuit is when we gave that to our nephew, John. You find it under the couch somewhere. Well, with President Clinton, we had some problems. And with the biscuit being checked every month from one of our, we have a whole agency that does nothing but this at the Pentagon. They run the entire nuclear program. They keep all the biscuits for the nuclear briefcases with Secretary of Defense, has a nuclear briefcase. With the nuclear football for the Vice President, for the President, we actually have a couple of biscuits and nuclear briefcases out there. But they keep all this going. Well, one of them come over to the White House. The President was in a top secret briefing and wanted to see the biscuit from the President. He didn't see it for about 2 months, okay, which was just determined to be a real fallacy in the program, and that this is something we probably would want the military aid to carry around in the briefcase from now on, okay? And so we have had many changes in the program, but the one particular day that the gentleman came over and was told that, I have no idea why they would allow him to leave. If that had been me running a program like I did for a 3-star admiral in Europe, with Stu 3s and encrypted phones, I'm not taking no for an answer. If I'm here to see it and look at the keys and all of that stuff, then you are going to show them to me, and I do not care who this person is, okay? And so honestly, a lot of people didn't like that about me. I don't actually care about your rank or who you are. I'm going to see what is required to be seen. Well, this gentleman did not do that. He did not look at the President's biscuit. So the biscuit supposedly was found about a couple of months later underneath the couch, the President's biscuit. Now, we changed the biscuit. It's very simple to change it, so the country was never in jeopardy. And the way the system works with the biscuit and the nuclear briefcase is, if the President cannot verify who he or she is, when they get on the phone with the Secretary of Defense to launch and they don't have access to their biscuit, or they can't find it, or the military aid was blown up in the attack and the entire briefcase is destroyed, the call terminates and we immediately go to the Vice President, wherever he or she is, and bring them up with their football to launch to accurately, correctly verify that you are now the Vice President of the United States. Okay, so crack your biscuit, open it up, get your biscuit out, and I'm going to read you challenge code 11. Blue zebra, I say to you again, blue zebra. What is your response? This is literally down to the seconds, because you have to understand, when we have a launch off of, say, the eastern seaboard, from, if you want to villainize the Russians and say a Russian submarine launches 10 nuclear missiles, remember when those go up into the air, that it's not just one missile coming down and hitting a city. You only have about 6 minutes from launch detection to respond. So you can burn down a lot of time just on the phone. We couldn't get the President. He was actually attacked. We can't verify him with the biscuit. We've lost a minute and a half. Go to the VP now. Terminate call, go to the VP. And those missiles, guys, when they're over the United States, they actually pop out like Jiffy Pop. They have a number of missiles inside of them that now target. So just one missile fired can have 20, 30, 40 smaller nuclear missiles in it that pop out and target maybe 20, 30 cities. You remember when President Reagan was shot? Okay, and they took him away. Well, when they sped away at high speed, they actually had, the President had his biscuit with him, but they left the military aid with the nuclear briefcase standing on the street. And so without the biscuit in the case, this does not work, all right? And they broke the nuclear response system accidentally that day when they sped away without the military aid carrying the briefcase. It was a real shame that that happened, and they said, we're going to strengthen this system and start issuing briefcases and biscuits to several people to prevent this from ever happening again. The last example I'll give you is with President Carter, and of course nobody wants to admit this one, but the dry cleaner claims that he called the White House and said, I have been doing the President's clothes for a long time, and there is a super fancy credit card in one of the suit coat pockets. I have it here on the hanger. You might want to send somebody over to pick this up. This is another famous biscuit that kind of went astray. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode featuring the world's most famous biscuit. And until we get a chance to see each other again, please subscribe down there. I'm Marty Mongiello for Inside the President's Cabinet.